Okay, so welcome to the lesson on the platypus water filter. Okay, so this is the bag that the water filter came in, and I've taken it out of the bag and I have set it up, and when I put it away you'll see how it goes back into the bag. It's quite simple. It's actually probably lighter than the Catadine water filter, and it filters roughly 4 liters, can filter 4 liters at a time of water, and it uses gravity to do that. So I'm just going to set that down, and I'm going to point out to you how I've set up my platypus. So this is the dirty bag. This will be where we put our dirty unfiltered water that I'm going to get from the creek, and down here at a lower elevation is the clean bag, and I'll just turn it around so you can see clean bag. And it's really quite self-explanatory. Water is going to flow from the dirty bag around. Yes, it's going to come back up and fill into the clean bag, right? Sometimes we actually just leave the clean bag, right? I can unclip this here like this, and we just leave the clean bag laying on the ground like this and let it fill up, and it actually works quite well. I hung it because normally in Algonquin we can find trees that have branches, or even sometimes people bring nails along that will be used to hang that, and you can put the dirty bag up here and the clean bag can hang from a hook down here, and that's all you need, maybe a foot or so of elevation change, and you're fine. A couple things I'll point out. One, this is a quick release here, so if I push this button down, you can see me push it down. This allows the connection to be disconnected. This allows me to take this dirty bag and walk to the water and fill it up with water if I want. I can just fill it completely full. It won't leak out until I put this back on and I push the button and I push it in nice and tight. Okay, the water will then going to flow through here, and you'll see this is the flow direction, so it's going to flow down through here, and this is the filter in here. Okay, can't see anything in this filter, but please don't throw it, drop it. It is kind of got some glass material in there, and it will break if you do that and stop working. Then there's a little device here set up where you can pinch off the cable. So right now it's open, believe it or not, that's open, and I can adjust that a little bit here to a new spot, slide it up and down, and when I want to close it, I can pinch it closed. And we do that sometimes when the clean bag gets full. If this clean bag gets full, then I have to close it off. Right now I'm going to leave it open. You know, there's my clean bag. So what I'm going to do is go get some water, and I'm going to put that water into my dirty bag. So what I do is we have a nesting pot set, and when you do the kitchen stuff, you'll see that. And this is the smallest pot in the nesting pot set. We almost never use this for anything because it's just so small. When you're feeding like 8 to 10 people, sometimes 12, it's just not big enough to cook anything in. Now we do sometimes use it, I will say, for someone, if we have a vegetarian or a vegan on trip and they bring their own food to cook, we do use it for that. But a lot of times what we do is we use this to collect water. So I'm going to go back to the stream and I'm going to look for clean water to collect. And I love using this pot system because it's just so simple. So I'm just going to go into the water roughly where I was before, and I pick up a full pot of water, and I come back to my dirty water, and you can see if I see a lot of floaties in here, I don't see anything really floating around in this one, but if I see a lot of floating material in here, I am not going to use this. And the top of the dirty bag here has an opening. It's kind of like a Ziploc opening, and so I'm just going to open it up with these fingers here as best I can, and I'm going to pour my water into the dirty bag. And as soon as I do that, the water will start to flow. Now normally I'd fill this right up. Maybe I'll put one more bag in, I don't know, let's see, and see what happens here. And water will start to flow through here, and you'll sometimes see the water coming along and moving. I can see a little bit of it coming through here, a lot of bubbles and stuff like this. And this is classic of what happens when you first start trying to get the water to flow. Look at it, you can see it moving through, and sometimes I'm going to unclip this and just let it lay down on the ground so it'll flow a little bit better for me. But the other thing is what happens is when it's new like this is we get what's called an airlock. So I'm just trying to get some of this water to flow through, and it's very slow. We want to see it moving faster than this. This will take a long time to filter 4 liters of water. Although I can still see a lot more coming. Nothing in the bag. Oh, there we go. We get our first little drips coming into the bag. In fact, oh, there, I can see it now. The water level has reached here. And so the bag is starting to fill up, the clean bag. If you watch carefully there, it's just slowly rising, which is really good. Now, sometimes it'll stop, it'll go really, really slow. And one of the things you can do is you can just back filter a little bit. And what you do is you lift this up and you raise this bag higher. Look at the bag here. Look at the bubbles coming out. Look at all those bubbles pouring out of the thing. And I'll keep this up here for a few minutes and sort of back washing it into or back filtering it in. Now, this is also how you clean the filter. But when I'm cleaning it, I'm going to dump that water out. I'm not going to keep this dirty water if I'm using it to clean. So when we get to the end of a run and I'm done, I want to back filter. That's what I do. And look at the bubbles still coming. And once they kind of stop, then I let it down again, and I'll probably see my flow rate increase dramatically. In fact, I can just see, look at the water just flying through the line. You can see some air bubbles still coming, and it just moving along really quickly. The bag will fill up. It might take 5 or 10 minutes to fill this bag completely, but I don't have to do anything. I can go work on a fire. I can go get my tent set up. I can go do just about anything I want while this is happening, which is really the real benefit of this. And then when I'm done, I got 4 liters of drinkable water in there, and it's really nice. And you'll notice that the clean bag is completely sealed off all the way around. There's nowhere on here, absolutely nowhere on this bag that water can get in except for through this connection. And then when I want to access the water, this is what I'll show you how I do that. I'm going to kind of let this water filter drain. You can see it. Look at over here. Look at the water is draining. I can actually visibly see that water coming down. And it's just going to keep filtering down, right? The greater the distance between the dirty bag and the clean bag, usually the faster it filters, which is just gravity doing its work. Like I say, another minute or so, and we're going to actually be empty in the dirty bag there, which is really good. Just so you can see, look at here, when on the clean bag, I got a fair bit of water in here, okay? So now if I want to use this water, I want to get access to it, there's a couple things I'm gonna do. First of all, I'm gonna pinch my line closed, okay? So this is gonna stop any new flow, okay? I've just basically cut off any more filtering. I don't need to filter anymore. I'm gonna turn my bag upside down, and I'm gonna unscrew this from here. Now, what I like to do is I like to take this, I don't want this sitting on the ground. If I get dirt in here, that dirt's gonna end up into my bag. That's a bad thing. So I'm just gonna kind of hang it on top of my dirty bag there, and you notice that it clips on really nice. It's easy, and you know that's got to be around. It's hanging around your camp. Now I just simply take this. Sometimes this bag is completely full, and I pour it into my water bottle, just like that. And I go, who needs water? And I go around and I fill up everybody's water as I want. Now, one of the things I don't want to do is I don't want to kill every last ounce of water in here. I like to leave a little bit in, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cap back on, okay? That's drinkable water now, okay? And I put this cap on nice and snug, okay? And I flip it back upside down, and I can now, using my pot, I can add more water to my dirty bag and keep going and keep going and keep going. And before, long, what happens is it starts to slow down. The filter starts to plug up a little bit. And so when I get to the end of a big bag or something like that, what I want to do is I want to take first of all, I undo this, okay, so that some water will start flowing again, okay? It's going to start, I can already see the line flowing. I can see the bubbles right there, just kind of moving their way along, and it's filling this up again, okay? Now, before I go, I've made sure I filled up everybody's. My dirty bag is pretty much empty now, and what I want to do is I want to back filter, and all I have to do is, again, stand here and hold this higher than the dirty bag, and you'll start to see the water flowing back up. Look at that. I can already see it. Look at it. It's flowing back up and into the dirty bag. And lots of times what it does as it back filters is it pushes out dirt out of my filter. So it's good to stand here for a minute or two and let that back filter out, okay? So that no more water, dirty water, is going to get into or all the dirt in the filter, is getting back into the dirty water bag, okay? Now I'm basically, let's say I'm done my back filtering. First thing I do is I close my valve here, basically cut off the flow. I'm going to set this back down. No water is going to filter out. I'm going to disconnect this, okay? I want to disconnect this because I don't want any water flowing out of this, and I can just hang it up here if I can. It's best to try to keep it in a clean spot. It's not hanging there very well. I'm just going to hang it, set it over here. It's not as crucial because if it gets dirty there, that water still has to go through the filter. Then any dirty water that's in here, I want to get it out of here. And so what I might do is go right down to the lake with this and just rinse it out. And I can even see some of the dirt in here. Look at the dirt that's got caught up and got back filtered out. So even that filter there had a little bit of dirt left in it from last year or whenever. And I can just dump that, get rid of it. I could even go right into the lake and rinse this out a couple times, make sure it's good thing. This is my dirty water bag. It doesn't matter as far as lake water. Lake water can get in this, okay? I gotta protect, I don't have to protect it, okay? So I can usually reconnect. I usually kind of keep it connected together when it's in the bag, when I store it, okay? So I reconnect this and just push and it clips back in. And now I want to empty this water because we're going to go on trip now. I don't want to carry this. If anything, I want to put it in somebody's water bottle, right? It's clean water, so I can disconnect this. I'm just going to here today dump it. Sometimes we do dump water because everybody's got their water. You're checking at camp. So I just dump this out, let it clean out, push the air out of it. I don't want any air left in it. And I close it off here. I reconnect. And so I tend to like to keep my whole my entire system connected together. And so what I do is I'll clip these together again. I like to keep my clips together. I did lots of times in the bush you don't have to, because when you're hanging on a nail you don't have to unclip, but I went around a stick, so I had to disconnect them. I put my two bags side by side together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my filter up and just tuck my hoses in, and I'm going to roll it all up into one, just like that. Pretty straightforward. And then I'm going to tuck it into its bag, and it's pretty light. It probably weighs a little more right now just because, well, we got things wet, and when you get things wet they carry weight with you, but overall pretty light. Goes in a bag and it goes into the water pail with the other water filter. When we need it, it's there. That's your lesson on how to use the Platypus water filter.